So before moving on to the procedure to draw the inverted mandala, let's discuss about the art supplies that you need to draw an inverted mandala. So to be honest, to draw the inverted mandala, you need the regular mandala art supplies only. You don't need any special art supplies for this particular design. So first of all, let's talk about the paper. For this particular design, I am using the ivory sheet, and this is A4 size. So you can use any sort of A4 size paper because all the measurements and the grid making etc. that we are going to do in this particular course and design, all of that would be in accordance with the A4 size sheet. But if you don't have A4 size sheet, you can also stick to A3 or A5 as well, whatever you have. But I would suggest you to stick to A4 size sheet for this particular course, and then you can try in some other paper sizes. Now this is the ivory sheet, and this is a really super smooth paper which is like perfect for drawing, any kind of drawing like sketching or mandala art etc. And the GSM of this paper is something around 200 GSM, like 180 to 200 GSM. So it makes it perfect to draw the mandala art. Now if you don't have this particular paper, it's totally fine. You can use any sort of white paper that you have. You can use cartridge sheet, Bristol paper, marker paper, watercolor paper, acrylic paper, or if you even have your regular printer paper, which is the regular A4 size sheet that we use in our office and regular stationery, that 80 GSM, 100 GSM regular printer paper, that would also be fine. So you just have to make sure that the paper is white and it is A4 size. The only thing that you have to ensure is that you can take any type of paper. Now you need a pencil to draw. Now I generally use mechanical pencil because of the precision and the light drawing lid etc. So if you have a mechanical pencil, I would suggest you to use that, but if you don't have, it's perfectly fine. Whatever pencil you use for your drawing purposes, you can just use that, the regular pencil, mechanical pencil, whatever suits you. Now we also need some rulers, so you can take any of the ruler, scale, basically we call it scale in general language. So any of the rulers that you have, you can use the smaller one or the larger one, whatever suits you. You also need protractors. Now you can either use any 180 degree protractor, or you can also use this 360 degree protractor. So whatever protractor you use for your mandala art, you can use that protractor for drawing. So whatever protractor, if you have any other protractor as well, you can use that. We need protractors to draw the grid basically. Now you also need a compass. Now I am using MAPED technical compass for this particular design, and I'll also be using this attachment that comes with this particular technical compass. So technical compass, so basically technical compass is very good for mandala drawing, as it comes with a lot of extra attachments, so that you can use it with pencil, or you can, if you want to directly use the compass with a pen or any sort of marker, or if you want to draw really big circles etc. So technical compass is very good for that. It also comes with a stopper. So but if you don't have a technical compass, you can use your regular student compass as well. So basically you just need a compass, and if you have a technical compass, so make sure that you are using the attachment that holds the pen as well. So that attachment, if you are using technical compass, but if you are using a student compass, you can just make the make the outer circle that we are going to discuss freehand. So any sort of compass that you use for mandala art would be fine. And we would also need an eraser and black fine liners. So for this particular design, we are going to just stick to black fine liners. You can use any sort of black pens, whatever you use for your mandala art. So you can use any of the black pens for that matter, any of the gel pen or fine liners, whatever black pen you use. You can also use colored fine liners we are going to discuss that as well, but for this particular design let's stick to black fine liner. If you want, you can definitely experiment with colored pens, etc. Just make sure that you are using some sort of fine pens or gel pens that are meant for drawing, etc. You can also use your regular gel and ball pens, but make sure that you are not using sketch pens or markers for drawing the mandala, because sketch pens and markers have a really thick nib and they are not meant for drawing purposes. They are basically meant for coloring purposes. So since we are drawing a mandala, make sure that you have a pen or a fine liner, black, any any nib size, any brand, any type would work, ball pen, gel pen or fine liner, whatever. So make sure you are using a pen. So these are all the supplies that we need to draw inverted mandala, and now we are going to look at the step by step procedure to draw the inverted mandala. So now we are going to start making the grid for the inverted mandala. So to start the grid, first of all we have to find the midpoint of the paper. And how do we do that? Now this is an A4 size sheet and the length of the A4 size sheet is 30 centimeter and the width is something around 21 centimeter. So it's like 30 centimeter by 21 centimeter. Now the length of the paper is 30 centimeter. Now divide it by 2, basically half of 30 centimeter, it would be 15. So vertically mark a point at 15 centimeter, right? And then align your ruler onto that point that was marked at 15 centimeter, and now horizontally 21 centimeter, the width of the paper is 21 centimeter, and now you have to divide it by 2, basically half of 21 centimeter would be 10.5. now mark a point at 10.5. so draw a horizontal line and then draw a vertical line. So this is the easiest and the most accurate procedure to find the midpoint of any kind of paper. So you can apply this formula to A3 size, A4 size or square paper, whatever paper you are using with any of the dimensions, and you will find the midpoint very easily, and the midpoint will also be accurate, 100% accurate. Now I'll just repeat the procedure once again. So the length of the paper is 30 centimeter, right? You divide it by 2, basically half of 30 centimeter, which is 15 centimeter. Mark a point at 15 centimeter, then horizontally do the same thing. So it was 21 centimeter, divided by 2, 10.5 centimeter. So that point, this point basically is going to be your midpoint. Now draw a horizontal line and then draw a vertical line. So that's how you find the midpoint of the paper, of any kind of paper. Now if you are using maybe any other dimension of paper, maybe your paper is A4 size or maybe A5 size, or there is like a slight difference, there is a possibility that it might not be 30 centimeter, it can be 28 or 29. So I have told you, so instead of just drawing vertical and horizontal line, just divide the length by 2, you will get the one midpoint, and then divide the width by 2, you will get another midpoint, and then we just draw 2 lines, vertical and horizontal, and the intersection of these 2 lines is your midpoint. So you can apply this formula in any kind of size of the paper. Now we are going to take the compass. Now if you have a technical compass, just remove this particular part, and we are going to use the part that so that we can use the compass with a pen. So for the first circle we are going to use the compass with a pen. If you don't have technical compass, it's totally fine, just use it with a pencil and you can outline it later. So this is my made technical compass, and I am just going to remove this pencil portion and attach this portion so that I can make a circle directly with a pen. If you have a student compass, just use it with a pencil and just outline it later on. So now I am going to use 0.7 mm 0.7 or 0.5 mm papers pen. So now I'm going to use Faber-Castell 0.7 mm, because now we want to make a outer circle. So basically, as you already saw in the design that I shared earlier, there is an outer circle which needs to be a little thick, because we just want to make sure that it is the outline and it is really well highlighted. So you can just take 0.5 or higher pen for that if you are using fine liner. If you have just if you are using just your regular gel pen or ball pen, you can just stick to that. So as I always say that the art supplies that you are using don't really make a difference. You just have to focus on the procedure and the way that we are making a mandala. So if you have these supplies, it's perfectly good, and if you don't have, you are using your regular pen, that's only perfectly good. So now we are just going to keep our compass on the midpoint of the paper and open it horizontally, because this is an A4 size paper. Open it horizontally till the edge. So we are not going to go all through the edge, we are just going to leave a little space right here. As you can see, like a little space, not too much space. I'll show you in this way. So basically this is the midpoint and then this is the circle. So just leave a little space through the edge and then draw a circle. Now here you can just experiment with the different radius of circles, and you can just there is no exact measurement of the radius of the circle. You can just draw as many circles and as big or small circle as you want. So if you want, so you can make a smaller mandala as well. So this is the circle that we made, and as you can see that we have left a little space because it looks neat and clean when there is a little space left at the edge. Now you can also make a smaller circle. So this is going to be the outermost circle, the outermost layer of our inverted mandala. Now we are going to remove the pen. So we just needed to draw an outer layer, and only for that we needed this particular portion. So if you don't have this technical compass, just make the bigger circle using the regular compass, that will be perfectly fine. Now we are going to draw concentric circles. So what are concentric circles? The circles that are made using the same midpoint are known as the concentric circles. So now we are just going to use the same midpoint and draw more circles inside using the pencil, because we are going to just use it for the layout and grid. Now there is no specific radius or dimension. You can just experiment with the number of layers and everything, but here I am going to just take around 1 centimeter gap, approximation. I am taking an approximation, so 1 centimeter gap, and I am going to draw some circles. So if you want, you can draw 2 centimeter circles at 2 centimeter gap, 1.5 centimeter, or more or less, whatever you feel. So for this particular step, you don't need to have a particular radius or particular dimension. You can just add more layers or add less layers, whatever you feel. So, and we are just going to draw circles here as well. So now here the distance between these two circles, all of the circles, is something around 1 centimeter. I can just give you that approximation. So if you feel comfortable, you can just go on like this, and if you want, you can take exact measurements using a ruler as well. So 1 centimeter gap would be perfect. It is the standard, but feel free to experiment with the 2 centimeter or 1.5 centimeter layers as feel free to experiment with that also. So now the basic layout, the basic sketch of our inverted mandala is ready, and now we are going to move on to making the grid. So now to draw the grid, you will need protractor. So now you can take any of the protractors. You can either take the 180 degree or the 360 degree one. So any of the protractors work perfectly fine. So basically we are just going to make the grid for the mandala. So for inverted mandala, the basic layout and sketch and the grid making procedure remains more or less the same as the usual mandala. The steps change after the grid making. So just keep your protractor aligned in the midpoint. So if you already have learnt the mandala basics, if you already know how to draw the mandala, you already know that the procedure to draw the grid, but I am going to show you once more because that's I feel that is important as drawing the patterns, etc. So now keep your protractor. So make sure that this particular portion, this midpoint, is aligned to your midpoint. So this is very important. Your protractor should not be like above this midpoint or below this point. So it should align. So take your time. And this is the most important part of drawing the mandala. The grid either makes or breaks your mandala. Always remember that. So make sure to take your time, and you can also pause the video or just rewind and watch it as many times as you want if you need more time. So now I'm just going to align it like this, right? So now we are going to, once your protractor is aligned, now you are going to mark points at every 10 degrees. So the 10-degree grid is the most standard mandala grid and the most widely used. Now you can also make at every 5 degrees, 15 degrees, 20 degrees, whatever you feel so. So 10 degrees is the most standard grid, and we are going to stick to that for this particular course. I would highly suggest you that once you have completed this course, please also experiment with 20 degrees grid or 15 degrees grid, 5 degrees grid as well. So once your protractor is aligned and on the midpoint, now slowly just mark points at every 10 degrees. So 10, 20, 30, 40 and so on. So now if you have a 180 degree protractor, you just complete one portion, like half of the portion, half of the circle, and then 180 degrees, and then just take your protractor on the lower side and do the same. So the procedure remains the same. As I always say that the material don't really make a difference. So it's totally fine if you are using that 180 degrees protractor. So we are just marking points at every 10 degrees. Be very careful and take your time. So once we are marked the points, now we are going to take our ruler, and we are going to draw the lines to complete the grid. Now while drawing the lines, you have to make sure that all of the lines go through the midpoint. So for example, this was your 10 degree line, right? So the opposite of this point would be this point, right, on the lower. So whatever, just imagine that this upper circle is one half and this is the lower half, and whatever we are doing here, we are going to do here as well. So basically, like, this is the mirror image of the upper circle, right? So this is the mirror image of this point. So align these two points on your ruler and make sure that the ruler is on the midpoint. So when you are drawing the line, your line should go through 3 points: the 10 degree mark on the upper circle, the opposite degree mark, and the midpoint. So it should neither be like this would also be wrong, and this would also be wrong. So aligning it to the midpoint, and all your lines should go through the midpoint. So just very light handedly we are going to draw a line, because we are anyways going to erase it later. So this way you have to draw the lines. Now we are going to do the same for all the marked points, and always make sure that all of your lines are going through the midpoint. So it should neither be this nor this. So align it So when you are aligning these 2 points, anyways the ruler will be aligned automatically, but before drawing any line, just check that your ruler is aligned and all of the lines are going through the midpoint. That is a very important process here. Take your time in drawing your grid. You can pause the video as well and rewind if you need to watch the procedure once again. So this is the usual mandala grid making process. So if you are new to the world of mandalas, so I would suggest you to first take my mandala art for beginners course, because in that we have also discussed about all the other aspects of mandala art, introduction as well, theoretical concepts, and how you can draw the grid and the circles without using protractor. So if you have already learned the basics of mandala, then it's fine. But anyhow, this course is is complete in itself. We are going to learn inverted mandala, and it's anyhow just the step-by-step procedure. I have anyhow discussed it, so feel free to do what makes you comfortable, and remember that learning should be fun. It should not be a pressure on you. So the last one, so once you have completed it, your grid would look like this. So as you can see that before drawing this particular grid, your mandala circle was just a circle, but then the grid making actually divides the circle into equal parts. So that is the main reason why we draw a grid in mandala, because we want to divide the circle into equal parts. Now when we will draw all the basic shapes and patterns, it will be very easy for us to just draw while measuring the grid. So this was the grid for the inverted mandala. Now we are going to proceed further. So after completing the grid, now we are going to start drawing the mandala. So if you if you already know the basics of mandala and you have drawn a mandala earlier, you know that we start from the inside layer and we draw all the basic shapes and patterns that are going outwards. So that is basically the foundation, the logic behind the mandala, that we start from inside and then we go outside layer by layer. So basically inside to outside. But in inverted mandala, as the name itself suggests, that we are going from that it is going to be inverted. So it is going from outside to inside, and all of the basic shapes and patterns will be facing inside. So basically when you see a mandala, it's like a flower, it's like a circle that is expanding. So we start from first layer, second layer, and all the patterns and all the shapes and motifs that we draw, the size keeps on increasing and we are like expanding and going outwards like this. But in inverted mandala, we start from the outside and we draw the biggest shapes and biggest patterns first, and then we keep on decreasing the size. So basically usual mandala, it expands like this, but in inverted mandala we are going to like shrink or decrease our size as we go inwards. So instead of starting from the first layer, we are going to draw the basic shapes from the outer layer and then move inwards. Now to draw the basic shapes, you can either choose one section to draw the basic shape, or you can choose two, whatever you feel. So you can also go on with three, so basically that is a thing that I would suggest you to experiment. But for this particular design, we are going to stick with two basic shapes, two sections to draw one basic shape, and we are going to go from outside to inside. So I am going to take this water droplet or petal kind of basic shape. So this is the way in which you are going to draw all the basic shape. So in a usual mandala, in a regular mandala, we take this particular line as the base and we draw outwards. Now you are going to go inwards. So make sure that you take this particular line as your base line to draw all the patterns. So this is the reason that in the first place we just made the circle using a pen. But if you have used a regular student compass and your pencil, you have drawn the circle using a pencil, that's perfectly fine. You can just outline it with your pen freehand. So go pattern by pattern and go shape by shape to just outline it, and it will be perfectly fine. Now we are going to draw all the basic shapes in this layer in this manner. So remember, we are going inwards. So whatever basic shape you choose, it can be a semicircle or any of the other basic shapes that I have discussed. So you can choose any of them, but for this particular design I am going to stick with this basic shape, this petal floral petal kind of the basic shape. So feel free to take your time, and you can pause the video if you need more time. So as the name suggests, inverted mandala basically. So basically the regular mandala, the procedure and everything, the design is inverted. So by inverted, which means we are going inside from outside. So in this way you can see that all the basic shapes for the first layer are complete, right? And the design is totally different from your regular mandala. Okay, so now we are going to do the same for all the other layers as well. Now for the next layer there are two choices. You can either just take the midpoint of these two patterns. So for example, you want to draw a basic shape for the next layer. So take the midpoint of this basic shape and this basic shape, take two areas and draw the pattern. So this is the one way to draw the next layer. Or you can either just outline all the circles and then draw the basic shape, in the way you just made the basic shapes in this particular layer. So again I would like to share it. Like for example, in this particular design we are going to stick with the first method. So this is just join the midpoints, and then you will be able to join the two layers very efficiently, very easily. But if you want, you can also just outline this circle and just highlight the two layers and join the two layers in that way as well, whatever you feel. So now we are going to complete all the layers, basic shapes one by one. Basically we are just repeating the procedure that we did for the first layer, basically the outermost layer. So highlighting all the circles is an option. You can do that, or you can just stick with this particular design that I am making right here. So now you can see that the basic shape, the design is coming up so nicely. Now we are going to do the same for the other two layers as well. So similarly, the procedure that we followed for this layer, we are going to use the same for the third layer as well. Now as you can see that the size of the basic shape is reducing as we move inwards. So at this point you have to be a little more careful, because the shape, basically the width and the the structure of your basic shape is changing. So if you don't feel comfortable, you can use a pencil to draw all the basic shapes and patterns, and then you can outline it later using your pen. But if you are comfortable, just go on with your pen, you will be fine. So take your time, and you can pause the video if you need more time to draw all the basic shapes layer by layer. So this type of layering and joining the layers looks totally different if you just draw the circular outlines as well, but both of them are correct and you can choose any of them. Now we are going to draw the last layer as well, and you have to be extra careful at this point, because the size of the petals, the basic shape, has reduced significantly. So now you can see that how the inverted mandala is actually looking. The procedure is somehow the same, but a little different, and the look and feel of your regular mandala is totally different. So since we are using this particular method of joining the layers, so it's better to stick to 2 sections for drawing the basic shape in all the layers, so that you are all the layers and all the basic shapes are very well connected with each other, and they look neat and clean as well. But if you are planning to draw the circular outlines as well, you can definitely change the setting of the basic shapes here from 2 sections to maybe 1 section or 3 sections as well. So those are the things that I would suggest you to try out once you have completed this course. So in this way we have completed the basic shapes. Now we are going to leave this particular portion for the end, and we are going to complete it later. So this was the basic shape. Now you can see that how interesting and how different the inverted mandala looks. So this is the easiest and the most efficient way to draw an inverted mandala. So you can just experiment with the size of the grid and size of the basic shapes and patterns as well, but the procedure remains the same. So this was drawing all the basic shapes. Now I would outline all the basic shapes as well. So outlining the basic shapes gives a really neat and nice look to all your patterns and motifs as well, and it highlights all the all the shapes and patterns that you are going to draw layer by layer. That is a totally optional step. You can also skip it, but I would suggest you to draw outlines of the basic shape as it looks more neat and clean. So in this particular step, we are just going to carefully and slowly draw the outlines of the basic shapes that we have made. So sometimes this step can be this is a very optional step. So for example, if you are using colors inside your basic shape, so for example, if you are planning to make it colorful, and if you just want a black border and you are filling color inside the basic shape, so you won't need this outline that much. But if you are just using one pen and all of these you also have not outlined all the circles, So to ensure that all the layers are well connected but also separate from each other, so this outlining makes sure that all the basic shapes and all the layers are, they pop out and they look highlighted, and since they are connected but they are not overlapping each other. So this is the reason adding an outline is a very good step to draw your mandala. So now we are just going to quietly complete this step. Feel free to pause if you need more time, or feel free to move on to the next session if you have already completed it. So make sure to take your time. You can also put on some music while doing this. So now we are just going to quietly complete this step. So layer by layer we are just going to add some borders as well. Now when you are going inside and the size of the basic shape is reducing, so you have to be extra careful while drawing the border, so that your border is neither too thick nor too thin. And also the space between the basic shape outer line and the inner line, it should be consistent throughout your layer and throughout your mandala as well. Being extra careful for the last layer, as the size of the basic shape is really small. and with this our basic shape layout is complete with all the double borders. So now we are going to move on to filling all of these basic shapes with patterns and motifs. So now we are going to draw all the patterns and motifs and fillers layer by layer. Now how to select the patterns for your inverted mandala. So basically you can choose any of the patterns, motifs, whatever you want. So I would suggest you that stick to simple geometrical patterns like lines or circles for this particular layer, because that is a very less wide, very small basic shape, and it is convenient and easier to use some geometrical pattern. And then I would for this particular layer I am using a mix of a motif. This is known as the paisley pattern. So a paisley motif and this particular line geometrical. So basically a mix of a designer motif and a geometrical motif. And then for this layer I have used a mix of two motifs. So this particular motif and this is the another motif. And then for the last layer, basically the first layer, I have used a layered pattern. So I have added a few layers, lines and patterns. Now if you want to learn more about mandala patterns, feel free to enroll for my mandala patterns master course, wherein I have discussed 100 plus patterns divided into various sections like simple patterns and intricate patterns, layered patterns, borders, and we have also discussed the difference between motifs and patterns, and basically the how you can join different motifs and create your own mandala pattern repository. If you already have mandala patterns in your mind, or if you already have your own mandala pattern repository, feel free to choose any of the mandala patterns of your choice. You don't have to just stick to these particular designs. You can draw the same these patterns, but if you want, just feel free to pick any of the patterns of your choice. And if you want to learn more about mandala patterns, I would highly suggest you to enroll for my mandala patterns master course as well. So now we are going to again start with this outer layer, because inverted mandala we are going from outwards to inwards, and then with every layer we are just going to draw the pattern. Now for this particular layer I am going to draw a layered pattern. So how you draw this pattern? So you just add one layer on the left hand side, then on the right hand side, draw your favorite motif on this particular section. I am drawing this lotus kind of a motif. Feel free to add more petals. You can also stick to 3 petals or make more like 7. And then I am going to add some lines so that there is a balance of geometrical and floral patterns throughout our design. So we also discuss about balancing motifs and drawing patterns in the mandala patterns master course. So now I am just going to complete this layer step by step. Now how do we do that? So divide the it's basically a choice. You can either complete the entire pattern in one basic shape and then move on to the another basic shape, or you can just go step by step. So for step by step, what we do is we just divide the pattern creation into step. So this is going to be the first step, and then we are going to complete the entire layer. Then we are going to draw the motif inside as the second step, and then we are going to complete this in the entire layer, and then we are going to add all the lines as third step like this, and then we are going to repeat the same procedure throughout the circle, and then we are going to just add fill the white areas like this, basically complete the layered pattern and highlight the motif that we have drawn here, and then we are going to do the same entire. Now you can either go step by step, or you can just draw the entire pattern once and then move on to the next basic shape. Whatever you feel comfortable, and make sure that you are following your way of drawing a mandala. So if you are a person that goes step by step, make sure to do that. If you just complete one pattern at a time, so just follow that. So now I'm going to go step by step. Feel free to pause the video if you need more time, or if you have already completed before time, just make sure to move on to the next session. And we are just going to quietly enjoy the process. If you feel like, you can just play some music in the background while you just enjoy. So let's just quietly enjoy the process step by step. Feel free to pause the video and take enough break. You don't have to complete the entire design in one go. Don't pressurize yourself. You have lifetime access to this course, so you can just take your own time. Just make sure that you enjoy the process and learn at your own pace. So with this, the first, basically the outermost layer of our inverted mandala is complete. So now we are going to move on to the next layer, and just like the outermost layer, we are going to complete all the other layers as well. So for this particular layer, I have chosen this pattern, which is a combination of two different motifs. So I'm going to start with the, so for the upcoming layers, we are just going to start drawing our pattern from this, taking this midline that is going through the basic shape as our reference. So just start from this V shape kind of pattern that has been formed here. So if you are drawing all the circles as well, as I discussed earlier, you won't get this V shape kind of area. You will just have this particular area to draw the basic to draw the pattern or the filler or the motif, whatever you are drawing. And then this V shape can be used for drawing another kind of a motif or pattern, or you can just fill it with the black ink and just highlight the layers. So since we have joined used the other kind of layering in this particular design, we are going to start from this corner only, this V shape, and we are going to draw this particular curved motif and then combine it with another motif. So basically these are the two motifs that I used to join make one pattern. So now we are going to again go step by step, just like the first layer. So we are going to draw the first motif throughout the entire layer, and then we are going to draw the other motif, so that the spacing, the size and the shape, everything remains consistent and we are able to maintain the symmetry. So now we are just going to quietly and calmly complete this layer as well. Take your own time, pause the video if you need more time, and if you already complete before me, you can just skip the session and move on to the next one. Once completed, we are going to draw the second motif. Now just like we used like 5 petals of this particular motif in this layer, you can also use 5, or you can just stick to 3 petals as well. You can also use any other pattern of motif of your choice. And once you have completed drawing the motifs, we are just going to fill the white spaces. So basically this filling the background white spaces helps to highlight our pattern and motif in a really efficient way. Again, this is an optional step. It depends upon the pattern and motif that you have chosen, but it kind of highlights your layers and all the basic shapes for that matter. So with this we have completed the second layer of the inverted mandala as well. Now for the third layer, as already discussed, I have taken a combination of paisley motif and the geometrical lines pattern. So we are just going to draw a vertical line dividing the basic shape into two. Then we are going to draw the paisley pattern. You can also draw any other pattern of your choice, and then the diagonal lines which are going upwards. So in this way we are going to complete the entire layer step by step. The first step would be to draw the vertical line and the paisley motif. Take your own time, feel free to pause if you need more time. You can also complete your design later. Once you have completed the paisley motif, we are going to draw the lines, diagonal lines on the other part. You can also draw another paisley motif on this side, like on the right hand side, or you can also draw any other motif if you don't like lines. So just feel free to experiment with the patterns. Now for this particular layer pattern as well, we are going to just fill in the white spaces in this paisley section, so that our paisley motif is highlighted really well in this particular layer. Feel free to pause if you need more time. And with this we have also completed the third layer of our inverted mandala. Now we are going to move on to the second last or the last layer. Basically we will just be left with the center patterns. So we are just going to draw lines. So draw a vertical line, then draw two curved lines on the left hand side and two curved lines on the right hand side. Now you can also use lines like straight vertical lines or horizontal lines, diagonal, or any other geometrical pattern for that matter, or any pattern if you have anything else in your mind. So let's keep it simple for the innermost layer. So now you can like see how the inverted mandala looks so stunning, and it gives a totally different look. However, the procedure was somehow similar to a regular mandala, the grid making and everything. So basically breaking down the procedure into smaller steps always makes the work easier. And with this we have also completed the last layer of our inverted mandala. So for the center of our inverted mandala, we are going to keep it very simple. So what are we going to do is just take two sections. So basically just outline two lines like this, and we are going to draw some circles that are going that are decreasing in size while we go inside, because we have to remember that this is an inverted mandala, so we are like shrinking and going inwards. So start from the outer and then keep on reducing the size of the circle that you are drawing, and then draw 4 circles. Now you have a choice. You can either fill the inside of the circle or fill the outside of the circle. We are going to fill the outside of the circles. So now we are going to go step by step. So first of all, we are going to very carefully outline 2 sections each. So you see that drawing the grid makes our work so easy. So now when you have completed this, we are going to draw the circles. So draw the outermost circle so that all the size of the circle remains intact. And then draw the smaller circles one by one. So you can see that this set of circles that are decreasing in size gives a really cool inverted kind of an effect. So now we are just going to complete it. So for this particular area you can just draw a circle so that all of the points come at a same point, right, in this way. And since we have a tiny circle right here, we are going to just carefully draw the tiniest circle as well, so that we have that inverted mandala look complete. So basically 4 circles. You can stick to 3 circles or 2 circles of your size, but make sure that it is decreasing in order when we are going inside. Now you can either color the inside of the circles, or you can just color the outside of the circles. So let's color the inside of the circles so that all of the circles are highlighted. So very carefully just color the inside of the circles. Layer by layer. You can also draw spiral inside it also, but spiral would basically mean that it is increasing. Basically it is like so. You can also try that, but I feel like spirals would be like too much for this section. Now the center the pattern actually totally depends on you, but I would suggest you to stick to some geometrical patterns that define that we are going we are shrinking inside. So if you want to draw any other motif or pattern here, so make sure that it is shrinking to the inside and giving us that 3D mandala look. Or you can just simply color the entire circle with your black pen or whatever color you are using, if you cannot think of any of the center pattern yourself. So just see what works for you, just go with the flow. And try different keep on experimenting with different designs, etc. as well, and see what's looking good, what isn't. That depends upon you. So now we'll just highlight and just improve this particular section as well. As you can see that we just made a few circles, and it's looking a little bit like almost colored circle as well. So for this particular section, it's always mandala art is always a work in progress, so it's totally fine if something you want to change. So what you can do is just take your protractor. If you have this kind of a protractor, or if you have like any circle or something like that, you can just draw a circle like this, right? and you can just fill it inside, fill it like entire. So basically we are trying to make a round. This is totally an option. If you feel that your circles, you are liking all those circles, you can just stick to that design, or you can just adjust the design. It's totally fine, because we can adjust our designs whenever we want and see what works for us. So this is looking better than the earlier one, so you can like try this as well. So that's how you can just modify and improve your mandala design by just trying and just adjusting depending upon the design. And with this, our mandala design is complete. So feel free to just try and experiment with different patterns and different kinds of shapes as well. Now once you have completed all the patterns and everything, you just have to take an eraser and just erase all the pencil lines. So be careful, make sure that your ink is completely dry, and just lightly just erase all the pencil lines that you can see here and there, all the grid lines. And with this, our mandala is complete. Our inverted mandala course is complete. So we are just going to erase it. Be a little careful while erasing the grid, that you don't tear off the paper or you don't crumble the paper. So after erasing, if you see that there is some final touches and everything is remaining, you can just complete that. So for example, I can see that I have to these lines look a little incomplete, as you can see. So we are just going to join these lines to the basic shape, so that we like have a complete joined, so that the layers are joined. So if you see in your design that you need any final touches, so for example, if you use your student compass and you need outer border or something like that, feel free to do that at the end. Or if you need if you want to modify any of the layers or add something, you can do that as well. So just adding some final touches to this design. And with this, our design is completed.